You see on the news all the time where large companies have gotten hacked, small companies get hacked all the time too. Find out ways to protect yourself today on Cyber Sentinel. Welcome to Cyber Sentinel. I'm Alan Adcock, CEO of ASC Group, and we're going to talk about steps to staying safe online and protecting your company's data. A couple of things in the news. We've got a cybersecurity issue in Jackson County where they had to pay $400,000 in a ransom to get their data back. So we'll talk about ways to prevent that and other risks to your data. We want to have your questions as well for future episodes, so find us on social media at #CyberSentinel.
Are there rules for keeping your data safe in the cloud?
There are definitely rules to look at for keeping data safe in the cloud. Cloud really is just an extension of the local network. So if your machine that you're using to access those cloud resources is compromised, they're going to have access to that cloud resource as well. So keeping those machines clean and making sure that they don't have compromises on them is critical. Whether the servers are on site or in the cloud, it doesn't really matter. Second thing to worry about with cloud-based applications is the logins. On a local area network, you've got your password management. In the cloud, you have password management as well, and it's super critical because those resources can be attacked 24/7 from anywhere in the world because they're cloud-based. So definitely need to make sure you have strong password policies, make sure that those passwords are changed frequently. If the cloud resource offers something called two-factor authentication, 2FA, or MFA, multi-factor authentication, definitely want to look at turning those on. That is the best way to make sure that your accounts are not being accessed by people other than you or authorized personnel. In addition to that, you always want to make sure that you back up that cloud data in what we call a reverse backup. So oftentimes we'll take a local server and back that up to a cloud backup resource. In the case of cloud resources, we want to back those up to a local resource. Never want to keep all of your data in one place, even if it's someplace like Office 365, which is a very common platform now for businesses to use. Definitely want to back that data up to a local resource or another cloud in case there's a problem with Microsoft. In fact, Microsoft's documentation recommends that you use a third-party backup for their applications.
What is the number one threat to your network security?
So the number one threat to your company's security is, most people think, is cyber criminals trying to hack in from the outside. Typically, it's users on your own network. They're not doing this typically to be malicious. They're doing it through opening email attachments, going to websites, not really understanding what they're doing. So cyber security training is critical for your user base. This can be delivered in different means. We can do that via live classroom type of training. We can do it via web-based training, which is very common these days. And then we always want to make sure that that training is followed up with either testing to make sure that they understand the content, and then we can do phishing attacks where we will send emails to your user base and make sure that they really know how to handle those and know how to look for an email that has links in it that they really shouldn't open, to make sure they can identify attachments that they shouldn't open. But those are the main entry points nowadays for malware to get onto a network, is through email, phishing schemes, and infected websites.
In the news, I see big companies that get hacked. Do small businesses need to worry about this?
Yeah, so small business absolutely needs to worry about being hacked and cyber risks online. You see the big companies get reported in the media. Small companies get hit many more times than the large companies do. They just don't make the news. So what we're seeing is about 50% of businesses that get hit by cyber attacks are out of business within 12 months. So it's a serious issue. And so in order to defend yourself against those kinds of attacks, you need to put securities and security software, security policies in place, regardless of how big your company is. There's a lot of stuff you can do that's not going to break the bank, but increase your security stature so that you're not the low-hanging fruit that the cyber criminals are going after on a regular basis. So we mentioned Jackson County having to pay out a $400,000 ransom. So ransomware, and really quickly, cyber criminals will gain access to a network. They will install software on that network, and that software then goes out and encrypts the files that they can access. Once those files are encrypted, you either have to restore that stuff from a backup, or you have to pay a ransom, typically in Bitcoin, to get those files unlocked. It's very difficult to recover from. Typically, when this happens, you're looking at a full re-image of everything on the network, so your backups are of critical importance. In this case, Jackson County could not get that data back. They took about 2 weeks of their systems being completely offline before they finally had to buckle under and pay that $400,000 ransom. FBI is in there now. It looks like, from what they can tell at this point, the cyber criminals had been in that network for a period of over a month, mapping out the network, figuring out what they wanted to encrypt before they actually launched the attack. So really critical that we take a look at things like data protection. How are we going to back up the data? Is the backup secure in the event of a ransomware attack? Can we get that back? And then there's technologies we can deploy as well that will see the ransomware attack and stop it in real time. Traditional antivirus doesn't do it. They can get around that very simply these days. There's a new generation of antivirus tools that are available on the market that will stop ransomware attacks if they're deployed and monitored properly. So just keep your eye out for these kind of attacks. Happen all the time. Jackson County is the most recent one. City of Atlanta happened last year. Happens to small businesses all the time that never get reported in the paper. So we want to help you to defend your network and make sure that your company does not fall victim to these kind of attacks. So that's all the questions we've got for today on this episode of Cyber Sentinel. Keep those questions coming into us at hashtag Cyber Sentinel and social media. We'll get those answered on future episodes and discuss more ways to defend your data and keep your company safe online.